nice, we're friends, very close friends.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
And I'm the coordinator of Mass in Motion Fall River. And my purpose in working for the city is to improve access to healthy food and resources for active living. So it means really making changes that will affect people's ability to be more active and to eat more healthy. Eric worked on the Mass Council on Aging grant last time. We had a 6-month grant that ran from March until October, and we worked with some people here and accomplished quite a bit. So why don't we start with Laura? Thrust of it is childhood obesity. So if we can get Mass in Motion projects to be focused on seniors, we will be benefiting the entire population, because anything you do for seniors, obviously it makes an improvement for all ages, including children. So they came up with this idea of funding small projects. Mass in Motion received, and Partners is our fiscal agent, received a small grant. And with that, we picked 2 areas of the city, really 3, near the Niagara Maplewood Senior Center, the Flint Senior Center, and North Park. And this group went out and did walking assessments, looking at crosswalks and issues of just safety, and whether it be on the sidewalks or crossings or lack of any of that, and reported this back to the city, to all the city officials, and got some pretty good responses. They haven't ended yet, but we had repainting of many crosswalks with the addition of the what they call piano key or zebra striping to make them really stick out. A whole new crosswalk up at the Niagara Senior Center. So some great improvements. Then we also were working with Lydia on this idea of a permaculture garden. And we received a small grant, or rather, Healthy City received a small grant from Bella Foundation. And one of the projects listed in that was to start a permaculture garden up at the Cattell Heights on Pleasant Street. And when I wrote the new request to the Mass Council on Aging for this grant, I put in, because it's about healthy food, the permaculture garden. So that's kind of why we almost have 2 projects here. And the primary one for the Mass Council on Aging is to we've decided on 3 zip codes to look at markets and to survey those markets, to survey seniors about where they shop and how they transport themselves to shop. And then thirdly, to plan and begin this permaculture garden by the spring. And I just want to mention that one of the pieces of that garden is a memorial to Marcia Picard's mother, an incredible woman who passed away this year, 2014. And there will be a bench and tree commemorating her extraordinary life. So there's a lot of pieces here. Because my voice is very limited today, Dave and Eric offered to take on pieces of this presentation and explanation and what steps we're going to take next. And David, are you next? Okay. So I want to, David Weed, I was part when I started to work for Mass in Motion almost 6 years ago. David organized a survey to find out what markets in the community were healthy markets where you could obtain healthy healthy choices of foods. And a small group, including Marcia and Dave, we surveyed over 100 markets. And those are listed, and Dave's going to tell you more about that project.
These were all women, and there was a couple of gentlemen from the Flint Senior Center say, what stores do you go to? Because the Flint has a variety of options for local markets, and pretty much all of them, and most of them were from the Azores, they're not, born in America. They go to Walmart, which is further away. They easily had a walk right to, any number of various markets that we usually went into on our routes, and no, they go to Walmart. Why do they go to Walmart? Is it cheaper for them? Do they still have access to their vehicles? Are they not walking to their markets because there's a stigma of Pleasant Street in the Flint that is dangerous and that they don't feel safe? So really, I think taking that and focusing on that, because the first grant was more about the walking aspect. Now we're actually can get into the eating and the healthy food aspect of it. Taking that and expanding upon it, really analyzing if crime and the perception of crime is a factor of why people wouldn't walk down Pleasant Street to White Rose Bakery. Well, not the bakery, it's not really healthy, but any number of the markets that I know. There was a family meat market, which unfortunately closed down. That was a big market on Pleasant Street, but there's still a number of them. There's a Reese's, yeah, and a Soriana also on Alden Street. So questions like that, and also a thing about transportation. Maybe how accessible are the markets from SERTA bus routes, perhaps? People who take the bus, do they have the ability to, bring their groceries with them? For example, Price Right, which is always packed and a lot of people do walk to, there is nowhere for you to sit and wait for the bus. You have to sit on the sidewalk while people are walking by. So in days like this, there's nowhere to sit. So if you're going to be waiting for the bus with heavy bags of groceries, it's going to be a chore. So those types of questions, and I want to throw it out to everybody else too. Is there any other kind of ideas that we could, really work with to get a sense of where seniors? Are we limiting to seniors, or?
Well, in this case, we are.
Okay.
Because the grant is for seniors.
Yeah. Okay, so asking seniors where they are shopping, getting a bigger sampler size than just the women at the Flint Senior Center, where they're shopping, perhaps why they shop there, have questions for ease of access, convenience, price, availability of the goods in the market. Maybe smaller markets don't carry a particular brand that they want, and maybe from there taking that and saying, well, these two brands compare because of this, or this option is healthier at this market as opposed to another. So there's a variety of options that we can go with this. So is there anybody who has?
I think transportation is going to be a big, big piece of this. How do those ladies get to Walmart? Do they drive? I think whenever we have events at the Flint Senior Center, for example, I think, the ethnicity, they'll eat.
Could you talk a little louder?
They'll eat, no matter what you have, they want like 5 or 6 desserts there. Even though they mentioned to me, of course, me having diabetes, they speak to me, but there they are with the malasadas and the biscuits and the sweet rice and all those type of things. Yeah, it's really true. So I think at this point, elders, they just say, I'm going to eat whatever I want, So, but I'm just saying, how can we word these questions? There's so many great questions. David and I were talking, and I'd love to see that survey when you have it almost complete, because I might want to add to it.
Room for plenty of input.
Yeah.